my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something kind of personal and that has a lot to do with just me and my story in general. I wanted to talk about what happened to my arm. If I had $1 for every time I got this question in my life, I would probably be a millionaire right now. That's being a little dramatic, but you get the point. So to start things off, I was born with amniotic band syndrome, and I'm actually going to read off of a definition of it because for my dog's drinking his water. I truthfully had no idea why I was born this way. Whenever people asked me the question, I was just like, oh, I was just born this way. But I didn't know exactly how until one day my older sister said, do you know like what happened to your arm? And I didn't. And I was like, honestly, no. And then she told me about amniotic band syndrome, and then I went down rabbit holes on Google just trying to get answers, and truthfully there really isn't answers. So just reading off of the definition alone, let's see. Basically, it is a rare condition where fibrous bands in the womb wrap around limbs, so it can be fingers, legs, your arm. It can be any part of the body, really. And for a lot of different people, I mean, you can have clefts, or you can be like me, or even with like your legs. So it really just depends on the circumstances, but I want to say it's between 1 and 1,200 births that people are born with amniotic band syndrome. And luckily for me, out of all of those people, I've been able to find another person just like me with this disability, and she's become one of my closest friends. I'll insert a photo of her here. So yeah, let's just get started on the topic at hand, no pun intended. I was, again, born this way, and my mom did find out at an ultrasound. I don't exactly know all the details around it, but, you know, I know for parents that can be really scary to find out, like, hey, my kid has a disability, and not knowing, like, how that's going to affect them long term. So I know maybe there will be some parents who watch this video who can maybe get some of their questions answered or some of their worries at ease a little bit. So yeah, for me, I know when I was growing up, when I was little, I was, when you're little, you kind of don't really think about things like that too much. So I didn't really take into consideration that I was different until kids or people started pointing it out or looking at it or asking questions. And when I was little, children were just like curious, and I just kind of let it be, and I would just say, like, I was born this way, and that was it. But as I got to sort of the preteen years and adolescence, that's when my insecurity started to kick in a little bit. And I wore jackets to school every day, and I live in Florida. The Florida heat is insane, but I did not care. I wore a jacket and had my arm in my pocket every day nonstop, which was insecurities manifesting itself. And I never showed it in photos. I hated when it was a topic of conversation. Like, if people brought it up, I just wanted the conversation to be over. I felt myself get so hot and just flushed. And that was a really sort of like dark time for me, I guess, just knowing that like I was different and I didn't like being different at that time. Fast forward to now, I love being different. I wouldn't change anything about myself, but back then it just felt like more of a burden than anything. It felt like I was like ostracized, and I just wanted to be like everyone else, but the reality of the situation was I wasn't. If I went to the store, I was stared at. If I went to school, I was stared at. Whether it be by little kids, adults, it didn't matter. I was always getting looked at, and I still get looked at constantly. But now I have learned to just accept it, and I know that whenever people see something that's different or out of the norm for them, it's kind of human nature to like kind of look, take a glance, and like be curious. So I just try to take that into consideration, that it is, you know, something different out of a lot of people's norms. They don't know a lot of people with a disability like this. They don't know anybody with missing limbs. So it was hard. I mean, as I got older, like when I graduated high school, I remember I applied for a job at Dairy Queen. and they straight up told me like, oh, we don't think you're gonna be able to fold the like burger papers or whatever. And they like kind of like snatched the job back from me, and I was devastated. I will never forget that moment. I was devastated. And that's when it kind of hit me that like, okay, things are going to be a lot harder for me as an adult too. Like, it's not just like I'm getting out of high school and like, okay, I finally have overcame wearing the jacket every day, and now I have to deal with discrimination in like the workplace or things of that nature. So that was not fun at all. And it's something that I won't forget, but it's also something that made me a lot stronger, because I did move forward to like get another job where I was really, 100% capable of doing everything that they needed me to do. They didn't treat me any different from any of the other employees. That was Pizza Hut, and I worked there for years. So that was like just kind of more, that's my dog again. That was more eye-opening, that like, okay, there are people out there who are going to treat me like I want to be treated, just like everybody else. But at the same time, there are situations where I guess as a woman, there's dating and you're insecure about that, whether that be like online dating or in-person dating. There were a lot of times where I would be like terrified to meet partners' parents, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they're like thinking, why is my son like dating someone with a disability like this, or like something like that. Just like ridiculous things that honestly really never happened. But dating is like another thing when it comes to having one arm, because I mean, people have questions, they're curious, and rightfully so, but it's also something that you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, can we get this conversation over with? But now I've sort of shifted that a little bit after going to therapy and talking about these things. We have discussed like, okay, what about like me bringing it up first, which has honestly made things 1,000 times better in my life. Like, just like addressing the elephant in the room, quote unquote, whatever. But yeah, I like to just address things first with people now, whether that be friends or potential, dating partners, whatever the case may be. And I think that has significantly helped my confidence, and just like getting the conversation out of the way and realizing that people are like, oh, okay. And then we move on to the next topic at hand. So yeah, let's see if there's anything else that I would like to answer, because I did write down some questions that I do typically get, and I don't want to miss out on anything potentially that like people might be curious about. But if there are more questions, obviously you can drop them in the comments. There are a lot of people out there who maybe are pregnant with a child with ABS, or raising a child with ABS, and they're curious about like what their life is going to look like. So I have gotten the question, do I use a prosthetic? When I was little, I had a prosthetic, and the only thing was that the four fingers were stuck together and the thumb would move like that. So it wasn't very useful. Now, I'll pull mine out. I do have a prosthetic that I actually just got a couple months ago. It was not cheap, I will say that, unless you have like great insurance. Mine covered a pretty significant amount, but it still was not cheap. It's used by motion sensors. So on the right and left side, if you have your outside muscle and your inside muscle, that makes the hand contract in and out. You can make it turn. So it's very neat, and I have it designed with butterflies to match my tattoos. So yeah, it's been sort of back and forth with me with this thing, because my dog is crying, sorry, because I don't necessarily use it too often, but I'm trying to force myself to use it a little bit more, because as I've gotten older, this is something else that I never really took into consideration about life with one arm, is that this arm is going to be overused completely. So like if I rotate, it sort of cracks a lot, and I wanted to look into getting a prosthetic last year because it was getting so bad. Like my shoulder blade, my rotator cuff, my I forget what this is called, not my collarbone, but the thing that connects the collarbone to the shoulder. It had just been giving me a lot of pain, so I wanted something to sort of give me a little more balance because I am sort of off balance too. I have like bad posture because of it, things like that. And I love going to the gym. So it's something that I'm still navigating and getting used to, because when you've lived your entire life adapting to the arms that you have now, it is really difficult to sort of navigate a prosthetic at that point. But I also do recommend maybe getting children into it if it's, you know, possible at a young age, just so that way they're not getting older and having a lot of like arm pain or like finger cramps, like things like that. So that is how I feel about the prosthetic. It's still a process for me personally, but it looks different for everybody. Let's see some more questions. Can you do everything with one arm? I feel like I have learned to do just about everything with my arm. Like, I fold my clothes, I cook, I have a lot of like hobbies that I do. Like, I have a fish tank, I go to the gym, I have my plants. I drive perfectly fine. I do have a license on the back that says I can't drive a stick, but I'm sure if I practiced, I would be able to. But that's just a limitation that the DMV put on me personally. But I know if I put my mind to it, I could probably learn how to drive a stick. But yeah, I have learned how to do just about everything. And unless it's something that you absolutely need two arms for, but you know, when you're born this way, you really do learn how to do most things in life. So that's my answer to that question. People say, does it hurt? No. Nothing about it hurts. It just feels like a typical arm. I do have like little fingers. Let's see. I have little fingers, and sometimes like the nails even grow on there. So yeah, it looks different for everybody though, but that's how mine looks. It doesn't hurt. Very flexible. And honestly, what hurts more is this one due to the overuse of it. I do utilize this one with like as much as I can, but obviously this one is going to get used the most. So yeah, no, it doesn't hurt. It just feels like an average limb. And was I bullied? Yes, I was. I remember in 6th grade, this one boy, I'm not going to say any names, but I remember his name. He called me a one-arm beep. And there was like a girl who kind of called me out in class, like basically trying to be funny, like, oh, how do you put your pants on? And like at this point we were in like 7th or 8th grade, so it's like, I've been putting my pants on for years. Why are you asking me this in front of the whole class? Like just weird little stuff like that. Or like if somebody had like beef with me or something, it's like the first thing they're gonna go for is my arm, because like what else are you gonna talk about me about, you know? So those were just some circumstances, and like kids can be mean, especially during adolescence, because a lot of kids are going through their own thing at home. So they take it out on others, and then if it's an easy target, like someone having one arm, then they will do that. So that is something to prepare for, unfortunately. But it just says a lot more about them than you, because if you're gonna make fun of me for something that I literally can't help in the first place, then you're kind of a terrible person. So yeah. And let's see. Over time, yeah, talking about like just how I've learned to maintain confidence and things like that. So over time, I ended up signing to a modeling agency called ZBD, and they are specifically for disabled individuals or like people who don't look like the average model, things like that. And signing up to that agency was what really built my confidence, because I ended up getting my first modeling gig with CVS. So, you know, going from hiding my arm back in the day to like having my arm plastered all over the CVS stores, all over the nation in the US was like mind-boggling. I've been in Times Square on a poster for a brand, an adaptive brand called Lady Finds. I did a lot of modeling work for them. I've got to do modeling work for a company called TUI. It's a travel company in the UK. So I got to do some work with them. So I've realized that like this has been such a blessing in itself for me. And it's also been nice that there are a lot of outlets online where there are people who look like me. Like I've met a lot of people online and gained a big community of people who look like me. Or there is the Lucky Fan community, who they share a bunch of stories, whether it's like toddlers, babies, parents, or people my age who share their stories and their experiences. So it's a community where everybody can sort of come together and just be a safe space for one another, because nobody gets it unless you're actually living it. You know, people can empathize with you, but they don't actually get it. So yeah, just like having a community and realizing that different doesn't equate to bad, and realizing that like this is the body that I was born in, this is the body that I'm gonna die in, and there's nothing I can do about it except for just, you know, love me for me, and live my life as best as I can, because I deserve to live without the fear of perception of everybody else. So that is sort of how I have gained my confidence a little bit. And yeah, I feel like that's a lot of pretty much what I wanted to say. I do want to send a message and send all my love to parents who are probably navigating this situation, and not even situation, but circumstance of like having maybe a toddler who's starting to realize they're different, or if you just went to an ultrasound and realized that like your child has ABS, you're not alone. And the reality of the situation is it's not the end of the world. I know that as a parent you probably want to shield them and protect them from everything, but they're gonna adapt, and they are gonna go through, you know, bad times and good times. But at the end of the day, this is just the cards some of us are dealt. And again, just because it's different doesn't make it bad. And it's just a matter of navigating life and pivoting in your own way. And the best thing that you can do is support your child and be there for them, but also let them sort of fly and figure themselves out and do their own thing. Because nobody's going to understand it the way they do. And I think it's really important maybe to show them that there is a community of people out there who do look like them. And just because they might be the only one in their school who looks like them, there are other people out there who do. And maybe try to set them up on virtual play dates, or if you can, like in-person play dates, things like that. So that way they do have a friend like them. Because I know having my friend in my life has, and we only met when I was about 25 years old. It has really like changed like my perception on this like significantly, and just like having a friendship where it's someone who genuinely can understand what I've gone through, and it's made me tear up a little bit, but I'm not gonna cry. But yeah, so that is what I want to talk about in my video today. And next time I think I'll probably discuss make a video about grad school, sort of a little bit of a different vibe next time. But yeah, I want to talk about grad school and what that looks like. I'm in a clinical mental health counseling program, so I'm starting my internship next week, and I'm really excited for that. So I want to do a couple of FAQs about grad school, what that looks like, student loans, schedule, yada yada, the whole 9 yards. So thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you guys for being here. We are currently looking at 113 subscribers. Thank you all for being here. That is so exciting. And I have a lot more content on the way. I don't really have a specific niche. My videos will be all over the place, but I am having fun doing it. Whether, you know, people are tuned in or not, this is fun for me. So thank you guys so much again for watching.